Hello everyone, welcome to Indian Judicial Service. Now another video of previous year solved paper. In this video we discuss MP Civil Judge solved paper 2018 set second part first. So set second is classified into three parts and this is part first. So without wasting our time, now come to the point. Now question number 1. These questions are belong to Constitution of India. Which of the following is not a constitutional body? So first one, Election Commission, Niti Aayog, GST Council, Interstate Council. So clearly Niti Aayog means a previously planning commission is not a constitutional body. So answer here option B. Now question number 2. Under Indian Constitution, fundamental duties enshrined under Article 51A does not include the duty. Option A, to uphold and protect a sovereignty of India. Yes, it is enshrined in Article 51A. Now option B, to defend the country when called upon to do so, it is also available. Option C, to value and preserve a rich heritage of our composite culture. Yes, it is a fundamental duty. And last one, to protect monument, places and object of national importance. So it is not a fundamental duty of citizens. So answer is here option D. Now question number 3. Constitution of India, right to vote in India is, so right to vote in India is clearly legal right. So answer here option D. Now question number 4. Which of the following is true and correct regarding Article 14 of the Constitution of India? Option A, it forbid a class legislation. Option B, it allow reasonable classification, not restriction. Option C, both it forbid a class legislation and allow a reasonable classification. And option D, none of these. So answer of this question is here option C, both forbid class legislation and allow reasonable classification. So answer option C. Now question number 5. Which of the following article of the Constitution of India recognize the doctrine of dual jeopardy? So dual jeopardy is provided in which article? It is provided in Article 20 clause 2. So answer is here option C. Now question number 6. The Constitution of Panchayats is given in, so Constitution of Panchayat is given in Article 243B of Constitution of India. So clearly answer is here option A, 243B. Now question number 7. The Constitution of India, the protection and improvement of environment and safeguarding forest and wildlife is option A here, one of the fundamental duties. Yes, it is one of the fundamental duties. It is provided in Article 51A subclause G. And option B, one of the directive principle of state policy. Yes, it is also a state policy, directive principle of state policy for government. So it is provided in Article 48A. Now option C, both directive principle of state policy and fundamental duties. Option D, none of these. So clearly the protection and improvement of environment and safeguarding forest and wildlife is both directive principle of state policy and fundamental duty. So answer is here option C. Now question number 8. Which among the following is not a fundamental right according to Constitution of India? Option A, right to equality. So yes, it is a fundamental right. Option B, right to freedom of religion. Yes, it is also fundamental right. Option C, right to constitutional remedy. It is a clearly fundamental right under Article 32. It is provided in Article 14, 15 and 16 and 17. So these are and 18 also. So these are related to right to equalities, and freedom of religion provided in Article 25, 26, and these articles related to freedom of religion. And equal justice and free legal aid. Yes, equal justice and free legal aid is not a fundamental rights. It is a directive principle of state policy. So answer is here A, B and C. So clearly option A. Now question number 9. The Constitution of India, which one of the following is not a directive principle of state policy? Option A, organization of village panchayat. Yes, it is a directive principle of state policy under Article 40. Now option B, uniform civil code for citizen and non-citizen. So clearly uniform civil code for citizen is provided in Article 44, but not for non-citizens. So it is not a directive principle of state policy. So answer is here option B. And remaining right to work, to education and to public assistance in certain cases, yes, it is directive principle of state policy. And last one, separation of judiciary from executive, yes, it is also directive principle of state policy under Article 50. So answer here option B. Now question number 10. In preamble of the Constitution of India, the people of India having resolved to constitute India into sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So answer here option C. Now question number 11. Civil Procedure Code 1908. So Civil Procedure Code, a decree for injunction if not obey. So in that time where a decree for injunction is not obey, so is excusable by detention of the judgment debtor in civil prison or by attachment of his property. So answer is here option B. Now question number 12. A decree for restitution of conjugal rights is excusable. So decree for conjugal rights is excusable by attachment of property. So answer here option B. This is very important here. Now question number 13. Which one of the following statement is incorrect regarding the compromise? This is very important. Compromise under Order 23, Rule 3 of Civil Procedure Code. Option A here must be in writing and signed by the party. Option B here must be in writing and need to be a lawful agreement. Option C here, it is required that subject matter of the compromise is the same as the subject matter of the suit. So this is very important statement here. And last one, a compromise in which is voidable under the Indian Contract Act shall also avoidable within the meaning of this rule. So answer of this question is clearly option C. It is required that subject matter of the compromise is the same as the subject matter of the suit. Now question number 14. Where a suit is dismissed under Rule 8 of Order 9 of Civil Procedure Code. So Rule 8 of Order 9 of Civil Procedure Code is related to the procedure where a defendant only appear and no plaintiff is appear, where the court call for hearing. So in that time, in respect of same cause of action, the plaintiff shall precluded from bringing a fresh suit. So answer is here option A. Now question number 15. Civil Procedure Code, a decision or finding given by court without jurisdiction. So without jurisdiction cannot operate as res judicata. So answer here option B. Now question number 16. A Civil Procedure Code, a suit for petition of properties situated in different cities. So option A, separate suit have to be filed in each cities where the properties are situated. So it is absolutely wrong. There is no need to institute a separate suit for each property. Now option B, can be instituted in a city where any property is instituted. Yes, this option is absolutely correct here. A suit for a petition of property situated in different cities. So in that time can institute in a city where any property are situated. So answer here option B. Now question number 17. Under section 148 of Civil Procedure Code, the court can enlarge the time not exceeding in total. So not exceeding in total 30 days. So answer here option D. Now question number 18. Civil Procedure Code, a suit may be defeated due to option A, non-joinder of proper party. So in that time suit is not defeated. Option B, misjoinder of necessary party. Option C, non-joinder of necessary party. Option D here, misjoinder of proper party. So in this question, a suit may be defeated due to non-joinder of necessary party. So answer here option C. Now question number 9. A Civil Procedure Code, a suit against a government shall not be instituted until the expiration of, so until expiration of 2 months. This is very important here. 2 months after notice in writing has been delivered. So answer is here option C. Now question number 20. A Civil Procedure Code, the principle of res judicata does not apply. So clearly the principle of res judicata does not apply to writ of habeas corpus. So answer is here option A. Now question number 21. Civil procedure code. Which of the following is a right of civil nature? Option A, right to share in offering in a temple. Yes, this right is having a civil nature. Option B here, right to take out procession. Yes, it is also having a civil nature. Now third one, right to worship in a temple. Yes, this right is a civil nature. All these rights are civil nature here. So answer here option D, all of these. Now question number 22. According to order 20 rule 7, so under order 20 related to the judgment and decree, and rule 7 shows that the date of judgment of civil procedure code, the decree shall bear the date of option A here, the day on which the judgment was pronounced. So clearly the decree shall bear the date of the day on which the judgment was pronounced. So answer is there option A. Now question number 23. Where a suit abate or dismissed under order 22. So under order 22 rule 9 related to the suit is abate or dismisses. Under order 22 rule 9 of civil procedure code on the same cause of action, so in that time no fresh suit shall be brought. So answer is here option B. Now question number 24. Civil procedure code, the provision in respect of summary procedure has been laid down under. So summary procedure has been laid down under order 37 of CPC. So answer is here option D. This is very important here. Summary procedure provided in order 37. Now question number 25. Which provision order of civil procedure code deal with the production, impounding and return of document? So this thing is provided in which order? Order 13 of CPC. So answer here option A. Now question number 26. These questions are related to Transfer of Property Act 1882. So first question, which one of the following statement is incorrect regarding a transfer of immovable property by gift? Option A, the instrument must be signed by or on behalf of donor. Yes, this statement is absolutely correct regarding immovable property, transfer of immovable property by gift. Option B, the instrument must be signed by donor only. This is absolutely wrong here. The representative of donor may also be signed there. So agent is also may be signed there. So this answer of this question is here option B. And remaining, the instrument must be registered, and option D here, the instrument must be attested by at least 2 witnesses. So all last 2 statements are correct regarding the transfer of property, immovable property by gift. So answer here option B. Now question number 27. Transfer of Property Act, the attestation of documents mean? Option A here, the attesting witness is aware of contents of the document. Option B here, the attesting witness is seen the executant signed or affixed mark. Option C here, received from the executant a personal acknowledgement of his signature. And last one, option D, both attesting witness, this is very important here, both attesting witness seen the executant sign or affix a mark and receive from the executant a personal acknowledgement of his signature. So answer is here option D. Now question number 28. The transfer of property does not include. So transfer of property does not include sale, lease, gift, will. So will is does not include transfer of property. So answer is here option C. Now question number 29. The gift of future property. So clearly the gift of future property is void agreement. So it is void. Answer is here option C. Now question number 30. Which of the following section of Transfer of Property Act dealt with effect of holding over a lease? So the effect of holding over of lease is provided in section 116 of Transfer of Property Act. So answer here option C. Now question number 31. The doctrine of lis pendens is explained in a famous case of. So first of all, doctrine of lis pendens is provided in section 52 of Transfer of Property Act, and the famous case related to doctrine of lis pendens is Balmi versus Sabine. So answer is here option D. Now question number 32. Under Transfer of Property Act, if the donor die before acceptance of the gift, by Dhoni. So in that time the gift is void. So answer is here option B. Now question number 33. The Contract Act, Indian Contract Act, which contract is specifically enforceable? So option A here, contract by B to deliver a lecture of law at Jabalpur University. So the contract by B to deliver a lecture of law at Jabalpur University is not specifically enforceable because it is depend on the personal qualification and personal quality. So it is wrong here. Option B, the contract of marriage. So it is also not specifically enforceable. Now option C, the contract by B with A to supply goods as of when A require. So it is also not specifically enforceable because of there is a adequate compensation at the time of the breach of contract. So in all these conditions, no provision of the specific performance of contract enforceable. So answer is here option D, none of these. Now question number 34. Inadequacy of consideration is relevant in determining the question of, so in determining the question of free consent. So answer here option D. Now question number 35. If only a part of consideration or object is unlawful, the contract under section 24 of the Indian Contract Act shall be void as whole. If any part of consideration or object is unlawful under section 24 of Indian Contract Act shall be void as whole. So answer here option C. Now question number 36. Two parties enter into contract. They later realize that there was a mistake in their understanding of law as applicable in India. This make their contract not voidable. So answer is here option D. Now question number, and this question is related to the mistake of law. Now question number 37. The frustration of contract is provided by which section of Indian Contract Act? So frustration of contract is provided in section 56 of the Contract Act. So answer here option C. Now question number 38. The good display in showcase of a shop with price tag is, so a good display showcase of shop with price tag is a invitation to offer. So answer here option A. Now question number 39. A enter into a contract with B to sell him 100 bale of cotton and afterward discover that B was acting as agent of C. This is very important here. B was acting as agent of C for the price of a cotton. A may sue. So A may sue against B or C or both. So answer is here option C. Now question number 40, final question of this video. Under Indian Contract Act, when does an agreement become a contract? Option A, it is enforceable by law. Option B, it is between the party competent to contract. Option C, it is by the free consent of party. Option D, all of these. So when does the agreement become a contract? All these conditions are necessary. It is enforceable by law. It is between the competent party and the party must having the free consent. So all these conditions are there. So answer here option D. Now we are going to finish this video, and if you like this video, please click on like button and please subscribe our channel. Thank you for watching Indian Judicial Service.